Greetings and salutations, you savage animals, and welcome to a very special presentation. We are going to get to know a little bit about Mr. Steven Butler. So, would you kindly please give a round of applause to Steven Butler?
Hello, everybody.
All right.
Nice to be here, Julian.
No, thank you very much for showing up. It's great to have you. We got you here for the next couple of days.
All
hanging
yours.
out at HQ and checking out the wares. This is your first time here.
It is. I've had a great time so far. Overwhelmed by all the cool stuff.
This is your first trip to Arizona.
First trip to Arizona.
Oh.
Overwhelmed by the whole atmosphere. I feel like I stepped into another world. I'm from the southeast, so
yeah,
everything is different here.
yeah.
Very cool.
It's dry, it's hot, and everything's beige.
Right.
Everything looks like it's got a layer of dust on it around here.
I'll take it.
Hey,
because
you know
it's
what?
cool.
It's always fun to have people here, and it's a really great opportunity for us to do a Q&A, and we'll open it up to you viewers watching here at home. So without further ado, what got you wanting to work in this industry?
In comics?
In comics.
From a very early age, from as a child, I loved comics. I'm a child of born in the '60s. I know I'm dating myself now, big time. Grew up in the early '70s and just loved comics. Now back then, I had no idea what a comic book shop was.
Mhm.
You got comics at the local
Drugstores,
grocery store,
yeah.
drugstore, pharmacy, and five and dime type stores, and I would go in there and I fell in love with the bright colors and the stories and everything, and I loved a little bit of everything. I loved Marvel stuff. Of course, probably Marvel was my favorite company, but I would get everything. I would get DC Comics. I would get Charlton, Gold Key, whatever was out there. Even Harvey, the Casper and
Harvey comics.
and then Hot Stuff. I loved all of that. And Archie, I loved all of that stuff. And so it gave me a well-rounded appreciation for all different kinds. I think I got every kind of comic except romance comics. I never did get into the romance stuff, but Westerns, I got into everything, So it was all war. It was all cool. And so as I grew up, I just never got out of the habit of buying comics and reading them. I had a sister who was instrumental in my comic book love. She was not a superhero fan, but she loved the Warren magazines, Creepy and
Creepy
and Vampirella. And she would also love there was one called Psycho and Scream, and she would get all of those, and then she wouldn't keep them, she would pass them on to me. And here I was, a 7-year-old kid reading this stuff, and I was hooked. I was hooked from an early age, and so it gave me an appreciation for the horror stuff, and so I grew up loving all of that, and I've made a career out of mostly doing superhero stuff. The guy got started in the industry in 1989. With a company called First Comics. I did a book called The Badger.
Oh, yeah, Badger,
kind
Tim
of
Vigil.
Tim
Tim
Vigil
Vigil
worked
did
on
that,
it. Ron
worked on
Wynn,
that.
several more guys worked on it. And I started working on that in '89 and did that for like 2 years and before they went out of business. But by that time, I had already started getting work for Marvel. And I worked for Marvel for about 10 years and did some stuff for Valiant. Did some stuff for DC, did some stuff for a lot of Dark Horse, a lot of different companies. And then I got married, started having kids, and all of that stuff that I did before was like superhero stuff. And I took a step back and started doing the funny animal stuff. And so I started working on a title called Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. And that was the thing that stuck, and it lasted for a long time. I worked on that book for 17 years, raised my kids with that book, and so I think all of that well-rounded reading as a child prepared me to be able to do all of that different kind of styles and different kind of comics whenever I'm here as an adult, and so I've here lately, I've just been doing commissions for people, and then I got contacted by Brian Pulido here at Coffin Comics, and I've been doing covers for him, for you guys here, and just having a blast because the kind of covers that I usually do here are covers that bring me back to my childhood, and because I'm recreating a lot of the covers from my childhood just with the Lady Death character.
Now,
So,
here's my next question. So,
sure.
with Sonic,
Yes.
that is, actually, it is, for folks that don't know, that is the longest running comic book video game tie-in ever. Nothing has ever topped that. And they've done Mario and stuff like that, and that never took off. Sonic really took off. I knew people that were buying it as kids and read it up until it left Archie. Before it went to Boom or IDW.
IDW.
IDW. So yeah, it was a very popular book, and I know people that read it growing up all the way into their 30s. They were like, no, I love it. It's a great story, and the art I love, and it's just fun and radical. So you were talking about with meeting Brian and doing the remarques.
Yes.
And it'd be a lot of stuff that was influenced from your childhood.
Yes.
Now, I take it you were probably picking up the Marvel horror stuff, because it seemed like the early 70s, the horror comics started to come back after the whole stigma of the 1950s with the Senate hearings.
Yes, because that's the early 70s is when they relaxed the Comics Code Authority rules, where they couldn't use, horror type of, they couldn't use werewolves or vampires or things like that. But they relaxed that a bit. Still had to use the Comics Code on their comics. But they relaxed the parameters quite a bit, and so you started seeing, especially from Marvel, a whole host of horror heroes, like anti-heroes kind of characters, and that's what we started out with. And that's another thing working with Brian that I really like, is we like a lot of the same stuff. We grew up on a lot of the same stuff, and I knew exactly what he was talking about whenever he first started doing this. Whenever he said that he wanted to start with all the Marvel horror heroes, I said, let's go. I'm ready. And so I think the first one we did was like a Ghost Rider, but I know this
Lady Death Rider,
yeah, right. And then the Lady Drac was from the first issue of Tomb of Dracula, which was done by Neil Adams. That's another thing I want to mention with this, is every one of these covers that I've done a lot for him since that first the Lady Death Rider and Lady Drac. I've had to, most of these I know, especially these early 70s, I knew the artists that did the covers, and so I would just put after Mike Ploog or after Neil Adams or whoever it was that drew the comic. But there was some of them, as we got into the later years, I didn't know who they weren't signed. And I had to, and some of them were by people that I didn't think did it. Like I know I did a Nova one.
That one was very popular.
And I got the name wrong. I thought it was a John Buscema cover, but it was Rich Buckler.
Oh.
So I had to go back and change it to after Rich Buckler. And so I had to make sure I did my due diligence and give the right credit to the original artist, because that's basically what I've done here is taken their work and just kind of updated it.
Now, on the work, have you had any of the original artists come up to you on any of these? Any of the folks that are still around?
Yeah, I was about to say, though, there's not a whole lot of them that are still around from that first batch that I did. Man, I'd love to have talked with Kirby or or Buscema or any of Ploog's still around, but I haven't heard from him. I've heard from other people that that talk about how their love, it's brought back. Seeing these covers has brought back their appreciation and love for that, or the original stuff. That's what I've gotten more so than hearing from the artists. I'm trying to think of if I've heard from anybody, and I'm blanking, but I have heard from people saying, "Man, this takes me back to my childhood." I'm like, "Good, that's what it's supposed to do."
And that's one thing I like about that is your style's very diverse, because you can go from a golden age look to a 70s look. And then you drop over here, and we got like late 80s, early 90s style. And then these ones, which is extremely, then you started doing the Iron Death stuff.
Right.
Which is like, wow. Now, do you prefer the horror aspects, the heroes, or do you just enjoy, it's like, oh, I got this assignment, right on, it's something new?
Yeah, the latter.
Yeah.
what you just said. I guess the thing that has made my career so long lived, I guess, is an ability to adapt to different styles and different. I mean, I worked for Disney Adventures magazine, and I've worked for a lot of other companies, they're very exacting in what you have to draw. You have to draw what they call on model, and so that I took all of those skills and applied to doing this stuff. And I really enjoy being able to to bounce from one style to another, because it never is boring, ever. You know, and there's some of these I've used different too. Most of these are done. See, I don't color these. I just do them in black and white. But most of these are just done with pen and ink and brush and ink techniques. But there's some like I'm not sure if it was this one or that. No, it was that other one over here. That one was done totally in pencil. And then it was colored directly over the pencil, and I think that was one of the only ones. I think this one here, you
can almost tell because of the softness of the art. It's very soft and beautiful.
But the original art that I was looking at, kind of called for that type of thing. I don't think that I would have been able to make it work right had I just used regular pen and ink. This one was done with ink, but it was like an ink wash, and so it gives you more gradations in the tones. So, but I like trying different things for different covers, because some things work better than others for some. It's just whatever cover I'm working on, I try to get in that zone, you know.
Well, let's show some people. We've got 4 editions right here.
All right.
And we are offering today. They're live right now. There is 5 remarques available. So 20 remarques, 5 between each of these. And also you get a signature from Brian and Mr. Butler too. So I want to see you do a remark on one of these for our customers. Which one would you like to choose for your remark?
This one's in already kind of like a tinted black and white, so I think this might work. It might show up really good on camera. So
perfect.
If you want,
let's get you a spot. Yeah, go ahead and get over there. Jimmy will zoom in, and I'll throw out some random questions for you.
Okay.
Now, my first question,
you want to hear? We got some people on. They're watching here. Just want to say hello. We got Jason Coates. Saying good evening.
Hey,
good
Jason.
evening, Steven and Julian. Yeah.
Fantastic.
We got Blue Cloud saying, hey, guys, what's up?
Hey.
Oh, we got Economics and Comics. He's watching.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We got Robert Zabarski saying,
Robert,
what's up?
What's up?
Joel Major saying, good evening. Coffin Crew.
Thank you, Major.
We got Anna Zua saying, hey, hey, hey.
Hey, Anna. I'd blow you a kiss, but my wife's probably watching.
And we also got Robert Bradford saying, what's up, folks?
Hey.
And, just some of the folks watching here today. But I'll let you back at it. Here we go.
Awesome. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to do a little head sketch here, and I found that doing these remarks, you know, I tried to use other material besides a Sharpie, but man, these things are built for Sharpies, and so I'm just going to go in here and do a little head sketch here, and I've been doing these a lot today already, so I'm kind of in the groove already, so it makes it go a little bit easier.
Who's your influences for wanting to become an artist?
Oh my goodness, I got about 10 of them, I guess, but Jack Kirby is my main guy. He's above Mount Rushmore for me, you know. He's the guy who, wherever he went, I would follow. He was at DC doing books like Commandy, the Last Boy on Earth, and The Demon, and The New Gods, and that type of thing whenever I first started buying comics. But then he came back to Marvel in the 70s and did Captain America and Machine Man and Black Panther and Devil Dinosaur.
Oh, I love Devil Dinosaur. I loved it when he guest appeared in the Godzilla comic.
Oh yeah.
Oh great. Yeah.
Two-parter.
Yeah.
Herb Trippy.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah. You remember all the same stuff that I do. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
But there are others. Gil Kane is one I draw. You know, a lot of inspiration from his kineticism and his fluidity. It's almost like watching opera, you know, when seeing his characters like they're going through some kind of dance whenever they're doing their acrobatic ballets in the middle of a fight or whatever. The Buscema's, John and Sal, I love both of them. Their storytelling is just beyond par. John Romita Sr., his Spider-Man run and his Daredevil stuff.
Yeah.
I love both of it. But other guys like Jim Starlin, who did the original Thanos saga and the Adam Warlock, and all of that stuff. Mike Plug, who did going back to the monster heroes. He did Werewolf by Night and Monster of Frankenstein and Man Thing, and he did a lot of stuff that I really like. Bernie Wrightson, of course, for Swamp Thing over at DC, but yeah, Mike Grell, who did Warlord for DC, loved his stuff.
Oh, Mike Grell, yeah.
I love Barbarian stuff, and it's not. A lot of people think they only think Conan whenever they think Barbarian. I remember Fongor,
yeah.
All of this.
My
stuff.
favorite was Thundar the Barbarian.
Thundar,
I
that's
love
right.
that show. It was ridiculously awesome.
Ukla
the Muck and Princess Ariel. Yeah, great show.
Yeah.
And it was neat because as the years progressed, I found out, wow, there's a lot of comic book artists that worked on most of the popular Saturday morning cartoons.
Sure. Jack Kirby did a lot of designs, and Alex Toth also worked on that, who did a lot of work for Hanna-Barbera.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are just some of the guys that I. There was a guy named Russ Manning. Oh man, who did the Tarzan newspaper strip.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, man, he was awesome.
My grandfather used to love those comic strips.
He had a real clean. He also did a book called Magnus Robot Fighter for Gold Key, and he had a real clean style. And I think a lot of that has shown through with my own inking, because I think about old Russ whenever I do a lot of my inking. All right, that's pretty much a remark here. And just the thing about it is I never leave myself enough room to sign my name. All right, there we go.
Wow, you guys saw it here first. This is a remark done right here live. We will be offering this. Like I say, we have 5 remarks per each of these editions available, and they are available to get signed by both Steven and Brian. No extra cost to you. So really great value, really great stuff. Do we have any more questions for Butler from anyone out there?
Let's see. Yeah, post your questions in the comments, folks. We got just Gus saying, hey, everyone.
Hey, Gus.
So,
what's up, Gus?
Appreciate that.
Here's another thing. Was there ever maybe an assignment you were given, whether like here we're doing the homages, and you were like, ooh, that's going to be tough? Is there anything that you were like, oh, that's a hell of a challenge?
Yeah,
I got to really challenge myself.
Yeah, that was one, and so I'm looking at
it. Which one is that?
Coffin Obsession, which was
really?
Yeah, well, I mean, look at it. Look at all that. And because it has like 1,500,000 different characters on it, and I knew hardly any of them. I know them now, but at the time I really didn't know who all of them were. And that was from the Infinity Gauntlet, from level number 1, I think. And
Perez.
That was George Perez, another major influence.
You could just stare at his art for hours, and I mean, he's the only person that could do a room full of characters, and you know exactly who the characters are.
That's right.
It's amazing.
I got to work with him, and thankful for it. Back in 94, 95 for Malibu Comics, doing a book called Ultra Force.
Ultra Force.
Yeah, he even made a cartoon out of it, but I got to work on a comic with him, working over his doing finished pencils over his layouts, and even his layouts were crazy, and so going into this, I knew it was a George Perez cover, and I knew I had to make it look good because he's my guy. And so not that it was difficult, it was just time consuming.
Yeah,
very time. It was still fun, but it took more time than than usual in doing that. Just because of the shit.
I definitely think that he would be proud of you, because that's a really perfect homage.
I hope you got to see it.
Question here from William. Do you ever get burnt out from doing the homage covers here for Coffin?
No. No, ever. In fact, the only question I have is, what is he going to think of next?
Yeah.
Because we did so many in the 70s, and I'm like, there's a finite number that we can work with here. I don't really see us doing a romance cover or anything like that that then again, maybe we could. But he started doing some from the 90s, some from the 80s, and then he even went back into the golden age to do some like the Captain Death, and then the Chamber of Coffins,
Death Rider.
Yeah, that was a Frank Frazetta cover.
Mm-hmm.
There.
That's
and
beautiful.
And so the sheer variety of comics that I get to work with and on, it keeps me pumped and excited about doing these things. And guys, I'll have to tell you, you've only seen a fraction of what we've done with these covers, because not every one of them have been printed yet, just to let you know. So you might have some things to look forward to in store that it might even be stuff that you might like even more than what you've already seen. I don't know. So.
Well, actually, I guess I read his question wrong. He said, that's not what I asked. So actually he said, do you ever get burnt out on seeing homage after homage after homage covers in general with published covers?
No, because I don't pay attention. I'm just being truthful and honest. Doing this keeps me so busy, and I know that I want to make each one of these different and unique. And I don't know, the other guys might be doing stuff similar to this, but I really don't pay attention to them. I know that they're out there, and I know that that's a big business, and I know that there's probably some that are better than others, but I stay busy doing this, so I don't really pay attention to all of that other stuff.
We got a comment here from Andrew saying that he plans on being at the Coffin Comics 15th anniversary in Tucson.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a party there, man. We're gonna take over that town. Heck yeah.
Fantastic.
Who else has got any questions out there? Remember, we have 5 remarques available right now per these editions we have. So that's 20 remarques up and available right now. Or just pick up an edition and get it double signed from Brian and Steven for free. So you just pay for the price of the book. They'll put their John Hancocks on there, and it's all yours once we get it shipped out. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. And also thank you, Steven, for coming out and spending a couple days with us. And I'm glad it's great to finally meet you. And it's always fun to have our artists come into HQ and celebrate and hang out with us. Before we go, again, guys, there's still remarques available. He was nice enough to do a sample of this edition right here for us. So, guys, now's your opportunity. Remarques, signatures. That'll do it for us today. I'm sure we'll have some other fun program coming your way later on this week. I'm Julian The Hooligan. That's Steven Butler. And Jimmy Coffin is running the camera as usual. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have an amazing day. We are out. Woo!